Previously on Drone Wars.
And this guy kind of told me that he was running a Air Force-funded TechStars cohort, essentially designed to find innovative technology companies and inject them into the bloodstream of the DoD, and that I should apply. I essentially asked them what their biggest problem was, and they all said to me, GPS-denied navigation. And it just so happened that the product I was building for drone cinematographers, I thought if I tweaked it a little bit, it would solve like the GPS-denied navigation thing. We build a vision-based navigation system. We call it VPS. It's essentially designed to kind of solve the nasty GPS jamming and GPS spoofing problem. People like it because you can't jam it, you can't spoof it, it does not emit or receive any signal. We're lobbying missiles, but these missiles have like computers and computer vision on them. You know, I'm here, I kind of go to myself, boy, how did I get here? And I mean, the smartest thing I ever did, I mean, I got lucky. The smartest thing I ever did was I asked a lot of people with a lot of money what their biggest problem was. I had a strange enough background in like camera technology where I thought I could use cameras to solve this GPS problem. And lo and behold, it worked, and it worked pretty damn well. And then, listen, the people I spoke to in 2020, I give them a lot of credit because like they were right. When the next war popped off, that was the first problem you heard about. Oh, there's no more GPS. And I just happened to like have a thing that I've been working on because I had taken people's advice in 2020, and here I am.
So it was an understanding of technology. It was basically identifying that problem and then modifying the technology to help solve it. I mean, it's what great entrepreneurs do, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
like moving to Ukraine and improving your technology too.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like, you know, I'm not married. You know, I could take big risks, and I could like do crazy things. I have, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, there's a complicated place to like be and do business as well. Like, it's not just about it's not just like the best technology wins. There's all sorts of kind of other things. There's also a lot of intrigue. Okay. And so it takes a certain kind of like, I think a lot of reasonable people would have like left a long time ago to a certain extent. You know, like it takes kind of like a unreasonable person to kind of like do this sort of a thing. And I wouldn't be lying. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't something perversely kind of exhilarating about doing it. You know, I'm at like the cutting edge. Like, you know, these hands have like, you know, touched like look at these beauties. Like have like, you know, yeah, have like been involved in you know, deploying a bunch of like these systems, and it's wild.
No, it's an incredible story. So like talk to me about this, right? Where do you think the technology goes over the next 12 to 24 months?
So I just think like, I'm kind of cynical about like, you know, I just think like everything takes 4 times longer than you think it's going to happen. That's just like the rule. So I don't really know like the exact timeline, but like I kind of, I think my thing is, it's like, it's impossible at some point, like listen, there's just going to be kind of, zones on battlefields where there's like no human beings, and there's just kind of robots duking it out. And those robots, there's going to be highly contested environments, and all of those robots are going to need sophisticated computers, sophisticated sensors, you know, sensors, eyeballs, computers, brains, and those things are going to be having to like make decisions on their own because they're going to be unable to communicate through radios, RF, microwave, whatever. You're not going to be able to send data to or from it, and they're not going to be able to navigate off of GPS, any sort of band. So you're going to have, you know, these zones of kind of just like immense robots kind of going at it. But those robots will bleed out, and like, I mean, and try to go after civilian populations or military infrastructure or energy, some kind of infrastructure. And where could, it could get real nuts, in the future. Like if these robots become somewhat like sentient to a certain extent, like, are you going to be like, if somebody has, some sort of electronic microwave radiation blasting, and if that's such a devastation, is it going to be treated like mustard gas in the future where you're like not allowed to do that because like it's just like too devastating to like the robots? Like, it could get is there going to be somebody who's like, are robots are going to be put on trial for like crimes against other robots? I mean, it could get like real weird in here. And now maybe this is the sci-fi filmmaker talking to me, but like, why the hell not? And I'm not, by the way, to be clear, I have not seen, like, this is not happening today. We're at the very, 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 very first stages of this stuff.
First inning of the ball game.
Yes, but drones that could navigate off of computer vision against a map database, seeing targets. Hey, I'm in that zone of interest. Hey, there's that ice cream truck. Let me fly down to the ice cream truck and buy a snow cone, like, and not ask the human to do it. Like the human has told it to fly towards the ice cream truck. Like that's doable today. But it could get much weirder. But I also think it's like hard to, I think it's hard to, stuff is like hard to build as well. And, but yeah, we've only started to get weird and it hasn't even gotten that weird yet.
Drone Wars is recorded from Firestorm's global HQ in San Diego. From our custom-built studio inside one of our hero products, a modular industrial-grade manufacturing facility designed to be deployed anywhere in the world within 24 hours for on-demand drone production. Each week on the podcast, we bring you cutting-edge insights from top industry leaders, sharing the breakthroughs and technologies they're working on, the hard lessons they've learned, and bold predictions that they have for the next 5 to 10 years in autonomous systems and advanced manufacturing. Enjoying the show so far? Then be sure you like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, back to the show.
So I've been approached by a couple folks who are working at like the UN and some of these interesting arms control groups. And they want to be informed about how AI is changing the battlefield. They're being very open and saying, like, this is something we need to ban. You shouldn't be able to use AI on the battlefield. When you see how this conflict, like in an actual conflict, people are doing whatever it takes to be successful, how foolhardy is this idea to try and ban AI on the battlefield?
It's like stupid. That ship has already left the station. Yeah, it's already like left the station. And I just think like kind of like, people don't, it goes back to like 2020, people say AI, they actually like don't even know what the hell like it means. Like people, when they say, and like when people say AI, it means anything from kind of image classification, being like, okay, like pointing a camera at an ice cream truck and the camera going, okay, that's the ice cream truck. And that's a bulldozer, being able to discern visual to like, make predictions about the outcome of chess. Okay, that's also AI. I mean, it's just like kind of a tool where you get a lot of data and you teach a computer something based off of a lot of data. I think when people say AI, they kind of are referring to like, we can't create God. Like we can't create some sort of omniscient like thing that like knows everything about the battlefield. And like, it's just like, well, that's not really pragmatic. How would you do that? You're going to have sensors in the hearts and minds of all the soldiers and not just that, but like the enemies. You're going to have to like know so much about the state of the universe and the battlefield to kind of like build some sort of like godlike, terrifying sort of a thing. Nuclear weapons don't have AI, but they're still pretty scary. So it kind of depends, like, okay, specifically what AI, what are we actually talking about? Like what, like, let's look at the actual product and figure out, like, is that really bad and dangerous? Like, yeah, maybe we should ban an AI that does do something that like, is capable of destroying all the molecules in the universe. I mean, okay, maybe let's have that discussion, but like no one's really shown me that sort of product. And like the reality is like, if the enemy's doing it, like you kind of need to match them to some extent.
Thanks, man. That's great. What's one thing that people in the West or people in the United States don't understand that they need to understand because it's going to influence what the next 5 to 10 years look like in this space?
Kind of like warfare that I'm seeing, like the Americans are like not prepared for. I mean, there's a reason many American companies have like come to Ukraine and like failed terribly. It's because like we're not prepared for it. We're not prepared for like this kind of like electronic warfare. Like I don't know what we're spending all of our money on, but we're not prepared for the kind of drone warfare that I'm seeing here by a long shot.
Is that both offensive and defensive capabilities, Brian?
I would say probably yes. Definitely the offensive stuff. The defensive stuff is kind of like hard to like. It's like really hard to kind of wrap my head around, because it's like any sort of defensive capability requires a lot of infrastructure to kind of like be set up. Like if you want guns with AI turrets, or if you want the microwave, like you need something all over the place to kind of like actually like stop these things. So setting up infrastructure, and then a year or two goes by and that infrastructure becomes obsolete because the enemy has kind of figured out your tricks. So I feel like that is a hard cat and mouse game to kind of play. And listen, somebody might have a solution that I'm just kind of like not seeing yet. That's totally possible. But I mean, I kind of think like, listen, it's also scary to always think that you've reached the end of a technology. Like I remember being a kid when my father brought home a rear screen projector TV, and I was like, holy shit, it's never gonna get any better than this. And now look at it, we have like 8K flat screen, the size of like as thick as a penny. So like always somehow it always gets better. Like people surprise you in ways, but like the offensive stuff, people are going to be building drones that are flying much, much faster. And that I think is that, and if you're flying much, much faster, if you're flying Mach 1, you need a Mach 2 thing to take you down. If you have a Mach 2 thing, then you need a Mach 3. But at a certain point, it becomes like some sort of economic battle of like, it's not, can you build like the ultimate, deterrent where it's just like, you have it, it's cheap, no one's going to mess with you because like it's too expensive, maybe. But I think that's kind of where the offensive stuff is going. I know people are like working on that stuff. I think that'd be an impressive, hard to take down sort of thing for a while. But what do I know? Somebody will come up with something at some point.
Last question. What do you wish you knew now that you could have told yourself when you started the journey?
If I knew how hard it was, I never would have done it. So like, part of being like a founder entrepreneur is like being naive is like your best asset. Like when I was making like the cold phone calls to like the DoD, the fact that I did not know who I was talking to very important people, but if I had experience, I would have been like, oh, I don't think they're going to want to talk. I would have been like kind of shy about, but like I kind of like didn't know anything. So it was just kind of like, I'm just two people having a conversation. So that, and like, I'm kind of somewhat a believer a bit in kind of sticking to your guns. I mean, you need to have conviction. When I made a decision after, having no experience in the aerospace defense industry, but I spoke to a lot of people and I asked a lot of really hard questions. Really, Dan, tell me more about like, okay, so there's GPS, like how does that work? There's CRPA antennas. What do those do? How are they jamming those? Okay, so people have jammers. Tell me more about that. Tell me that. I just kind of, I had a lot of people telling me in 2020, oh, Brian, I think people have this thing already. Somebody's built it. I'm like, okay, where is it? Show somebody, where is it? You're telling me somebody has it. Where is it? Like, and ultimately I kind of convinced myself that no one had it and that I should be the one to build it. So like at a certain point you have to take less advice from people. And you need, like, if you have a hunch and that hunch is substantiated by like evidence, whether they be interviews, talking to a lot of people. If you have a hunch and you got a real, like, stick to your guns, and be right, and be right. The other thing, that I wish I knew, I don't know. These sales cycles could be devastatingly long.
Yep. Be well capitalized. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Those are unbelievable, like, pieces of advice to give an early entrepreneur or any entrepreneur, right? There's a lot of good ideas that never get built because one of the three, maybe people can't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, listen, like the other like advice to like young entrepreneurs, like if that's like the audience here is for this, is like, I would not build the damn thing. Like, if you want to start something, don't build the damn thing. Have like talk to a lot of people, ask them what their biggest problem is, and then solve that problem in a unique, novel way using AI. and because I've tried to sell things that no one's wanted. And now I'm trying to sell something that like people are desperate for. And there's a massive delta between those things. I gotta have a shitty personality and people will still want to buy vision navigation, so like, it's much easier when you have something that people really, really need.
Awesome. Brian, if people want to either follow you or get in touch, where can they find you online?
I am, where am I online? God, I'm kind of like staying offline these days, in that rate, but I'm on LinkedIn. So hit me up on LinkedIn, and would love to say hello to those interested. And, I appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to the Drone Wars podcast. Each week, we bring you fascinating conversations with leaders shaping the future of air, sea, land, and space technologies. Catch new episodes every Tuesday wherever podcasts can be found. Until then, we'll see you next time.